strategy games of every variety. Alright everyone, to start it off today, we have got Dungeon Defenders by Trendy Entertainment. Now this game, you might have seen a video of it that went up rather recently on Shenby36's channel, me and him playing it. It is a tower defense, but it's not just your average little flash gamey tower defense. No, this game is so much more than that. Not only do you have to build towers to stop the infinite onslaught of fucking enemies that will come at you in your crystals, you at all times control your own personal character that you've leveled up, geared out, and spent stat points on, you know, classic RPG shit, who runs around and destroys people himself wherever the thicket of enemies might be a little too much for your towers and defenses to handle. So what we've got here is an almost hack and slash type action game combined with the tower defense, combined with an RPG and all the character and gear progression and addictiveness that lies in there. And it all comes together into a pretty fucking amazing game here. Now, just to elaborate on the RPG, there are 70 levels of progression. I haven't even hit level 70 on anything yet that you can advance your character through, where you can either make him more powerful, you can make his towers more powerful, he'll learn new towers, he'll learn new abilities, and you have an almost MMO-style gear progression with not just a weapon, which is unique for each of the 4 different character classes, but a full set of armor that enhances your stats as well. Now about the 4 character classes, they don't just look and act different, they fight completely differently, and each character has an access to 5 unique towers. They build completely separate towers with completely separate purposes, and as you can see here, here's a sampling of basically everybody's towers for you, except the squires, because I don't really have a squire to build towers with. But as you can see, we got traps from the Huntress as a last line of defense, auras from the Monk just as general help out, and actual elemental towers from the Apprentice for just purified ass beatery. It all comes together extremely well, and of course the game does offer up to 4-player co-op, and I'd highly recommend you find at least one friend to play this with, because it just makes the experience so much more entertaining. Download the demo for this game at least and give it a shot. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. The game's also got some big angry bosses that'll come in that you're going to have to figure out how to deal with while an infinite wave of enemies spawns behind it. Definitely got all kinds of challenge. It is one of the fucking hardest games I've ever played. So, don't be afraid of that. You can definitely turn the difficulty down and get it easier if that's what you need. We started out on medium. It's no shame. It's no shame. You're level 1. You gotta do what you gotta do. But seriously, check this game out. I promise you, it will blow your mind out of the back of your skull. Alright, and for our completely free game today, we have Rebuild 2 by Sarah Northway. Now this game, if I had to describe it in a short phrase, I would go ahead and call it the Sim City of the zombie apocalypse. And since that makes absolutely no sense, I'm going to elaborate. What this game is basically survival with strategy and a city takeover mixed into it. You start out with 4 buildings and a lone little group of survivors. And you're completely surrounded by a zombie-infested city. And you have all sorts of tasks. You need to keep everyone alive, you need to manage your food stocks, you need to expand your territory, clear zombies out of the surrounding areas, try and find more areas that you can habitate to keep surviving, make friends, find survivors, scavenge for equipment. I mean, all sorts of shit's going on. What the gameplay boils down to is a day-by-day turn system. Now, this isn't a turn-based RTS at all, so don't worry about that. Every day, you can assign each of your survivors to a task. Some of these tasks take multiple days, but you can just assign them all to go do something like guard the fort, scavenge for food, kill zombies in an area, search for survivors, or even scout outlying regions you don't know what they are. And once you're done assigning all your survivors to a task, the day ends, and everyone goes through with their tasks at the same time that all the zombies move. You can check the zombie activity in any area that you've scouted at any time to see where there might be a fuckload of them, but any given night you can get attacked by zombies at any point in the fort. They can break through anywhere. So you want to be careful about sending all your survivors out to search for food when there's an angry zombie horde at the back door. There's just all different kinds of strategies that go into here. There's even like 3 or 4 different ways you can win, either by taking over the whole city, drafting a constitution, escaping in a helicopter. All I've ever done is draft a constitution. I've never even won with the other endings before. But wide variety of ways that you can end the game and win, and there's all sorts of ways to go about taking the city back and making sure you can keep surviving. You gotta manage everything. If you bring a bajillion survivors into the fort to help hold off the infinite waves of zombies, how are you gonna feed them? How are you gonna keep everyone happy? You gotta worry about morale, or people will start fucking killing themselves and rioting. You might get attacked by a gang in the middle of the night, in addition to the zombies. I mean, it really is a difficult and interesting strategy experience that I had all kinds of fun with, and since it's just a completely free flash game over on Congregate, I highly recommend you go down in the description, click that link, and go give it a try. If you think it's too easy, turn the difficulty up, and I guarantee you, you are not going to think that anymore.
Okay. Don't say a word. Just keep walking, real casual, okay? Let's do this. I'll show it to you, but you can't tell anybody else where it is, okay? Deal. I would have bought it myself, but I just felt like it was too big, too valuable, like the kind of thing no one man should possess. Yes! Here it is. Go ahead. Open it. If you dare.
That's right, everyone. That's fucking right. For the last game of the day, we got Double Fine's Brutal Legend. Now, for those of you who have followed my channel for a long time, you probably saw me live stream this quite a long time ago, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that none of you have ever heard of this game before, because sadly enough, most people haven't, and this disappoints me greatly. In Brutal Legend, you play as roadie Eddie Riggs, who gets teleported to some sort of insane heavy metal dimension, where you then have to fight demons and glam hair bands and goth kids, and it's completely ridiculous, but amazing. Now, this game could loosely be defined as an RTS. If you don't like RTS, don't let that scare you off. I don't like RTSs either. Trust me, I hate them. But this is the lightest of light RTSs in the history of the universe. You don't have to worry about building bases or even really buildings at all. In the RTS battles, you have one building, and that is your stage, which serves as both your home base, you lose if it's destroyed, and it's where you summon in all of your troops. It also has its own defenses, so that's the only building. The only other structures there even are the resource production structures. You don't have to manage any SCVs or drones or any of that shit. All you have to do is find a resource node, rip off a quick guitar riff, and it'll automatically build a merchandise booth on it, and you just get resources in the merchandise booth. Incredibly base level RTS. So all of the strategy basically comes down to what points you try to attack, what resource nodes you go after, and what units you build to counter your enemy's army. That's really the only RTS part of it. You spend most of your time running around beating wholesale ass yourself, of course, and it's very hack and slashy and fun to play. Your hero, you control him at all times. You never go into just a straight RTS battle. You always get to run around as your hero, either Eddie Riggs or Diviculus, depending on your army. And you have them, and your troops are basically just the backup. It's not an StarCraft super micro precision. Your troops are basically a sledgehammer. I mean, your commands consist of sit here and kill everything that comes at you, go over there, and everything in that general direction must die. That's pretty much as specific as they get. So really, you don't need to worry about all the micromanagement. Most of the game isn't even an RTS. Most of the game is just an action hack and slash, or driving around in your car doing various races, or escorting the tour bus with the chain gun strapped to your hood. I mean, it's just completely over the top ridiculous and so much fun. Seriously, Brutal Legend is my favorite video game ever. If that doesn't tell you should get this game right now, I don't know what will. I mean, my favorite game of all time. So let that sink in for a minute. He's gonna make me one promise. If you're gonna get this game, it is about the single player. It really is. And you are not allowed to touch that multiplayer button until you have beaten the single player. Because it's really unavoidable, but the multiplayer screen has got the big spoiler story twist for single player literally on the front page. So don't touch it! I'm telling you, I know it's like Pandora's box, but you're gonna ruin the story for yourself. Don't do it. Seriously, and the story's pretty fucking awesome. It makes no sense at first, but trust me, it all comes together. So get it. You can pick this game up for $10 at GameStop now. Get it. Get Dungeon Defenders. At least download that trial and give it a shot. And go play Rebuild over on Congregate. That one doesn't even cost you shit. And that can entertain you for hours. Go try all 3 of these games out, and I will see you guys on the next 3 fiscally responsible games you have probably never heard of.